Hiroko, good job with this first draft. I know this is a difficult topic. I think it's a very interesting challenge because you want to explain Japanese culture to the world. And let's say that many people in the world who speak English are influenced by Western educational models, like American education or European education. This means that they may expect clear, logical definitions and connections between ideas. However, many Japanese ideas are very different from this. They're very deep and complicated and cannot easily be explained in logical ways. This means you have a special challenge in translating Japanese culture into English. But I think you can do it, and I hope you will do it. I know this draft isn't finished, but I have 3 pieces of feedback for you. The first piece of feedback is about this paragraph. You do a good job at the beginning of explaining onagata and uchimata, and suriashi, I know my pronunciation isn't good. And then you go to your teacher talking about the men's style dance and the movement and all of that. We've talked about this, and I think that's very good. However, I want you to make sure that you explain what this can teach us about life in general, right? It's not just explaining onagata. It's not just explaining onagata and using suriashi and the uchimata feet position and how men who study onagata first when they learn dance. It's about explaining what those things mean. What ideas do they represent in Japanese culture? For example, does this onagata represent that in Japanese culture we should learn to be soft before we learn to be hard? I think you should think about this and explain more about what this means for life in general and Japanese culture in general, rather than just explain that the first step in male dance is to learn onagata. Now this second paragraph is really very wonderful. That's my second piece of feedback to you, is I think this is pretty good. I'm happy with it. I think you explain it well, so thank you very much. You did a great job. The last piece of feedback is just some advice for this. So I know you're working on this, and this idea of ambiguity is very difficult to explain. But I think that one thing that may help you is if you connect ambiguity to ideas in Japanese culture beyond just onagata. So you introduce that the beauty of onagata is between reality and fantasy, and then you explain that here. But then maybe you can talk about how the onagata between reality and fantasy is similar to other things in Japanese culture, or other ideas that generally relate to Japanese culture, or other experiences you've had of Japanese culture that seem to agree with this reality and fantasy idea. So that's all I have for you. I really hope that you will continue to write and continue to share these things. I think that these ideas are very important for the world, especially because the world tends to ignore ambiguity in favor of things that are clear, but often things that are clear are not deep enough to really change us. So thank you very much. You did a great job, and I'll see you later.